Nasiphi Same is among our team following events outside Parliament. Nasiphi, good morning to you. So we already are able to see behind you there a gathered grouping. A little earlier, you did have a word with them. What did they tell you about their expectations from this medium-term budget?
The group behind us is basically demonstrating outside the gates of Parliament ahead of the medium-term budget speech by the Finance Minister. Earlier on, we heard the group's demands, which are basically four demands, one being a basic income grant of 500 rand, my apologies, taxing the rich, addressing service delivery, including the issue of unemployment. And they are saying that the cry for the poor and working class is becoming louder and louder, and it doesn't seem that government is going to be attending or is attending to it. But I'm joined by Bridget here from SAMU, the Cape Metro Deputy Secretary. Bridget, thank you so much for your time. But earlier on, we heard the demands by the group. What are your thoughts or expectations ahead of this medium-term budget speech?
All right, good day to you and your listeners. As we are here today, understanding that there's a mid-term budget speech, we are here with a number of demands. As you can hear behind you, the noise, it's movements from civil society from all over the country. And we are here to tell Ukodongwane to stop with the austerity measures.
What are austerity measures, Bridget, for people that perhaps don't understand?
As you can see, that in our communities and in making sure that in our communities, issues of service delivery, everyone is crying over potholes, everyone is crying over sewage. Now you look at the health state in our country, it's in shambles. Right now the country is crying over a Dr. Matthew that just can walk in hospitals and do as he pleases. That is an indication of a state failing in the health sector. So we can go on and on about corruption and all the wrongdoings that are happening in our country. However, what we are here to say is to say to the minister today, we do not want to hear anything in terms of budget cuts, in terms of our budget for the people.
What then happens, Bridget, when the minister does announce budget cuts?
Look, we are not going to rest. We are not going to rest. Communities are going to stand up until we hear the people's budget. And we are going to intensify in our communities. You will hear more demonstrations where people are crying out for service delivery. It can't be that we come from Iraqbi and we want congratulations to the boys. However, when you hear the mayor of the city of Cape Town trying to have a big concert, for what reason? Those are fruitless expenditure where those monies should be going to communities in order for Putisa, izinto zasekushaleni.
Bridget, speaking to the chairperson of Cry the Excluded earlier on, you said that South Africa is in crisis. Would you echo the same sentiment?
It is beyond crisis. We have tasted a little bit of unity during the Rugby World Cup. Now that it's over, we are back to square one, where we're going to have to deal with the issue of inequality that we have been dealing with in a long time. Yes, we've heard that there's a 1 billion that's been borrowed in the World Bank, but yet we have not seen as the public in terms of the concessions relating to that. And we know, we've seen it with COVID. This country does not cease to amaze us. We've seen with COVID where they borrowed money and we saw corruption, where ministers, where entrepreneurs, their friends, their families, living large, whereas the poor people had nothing on the table, even food to eat on the table. So we are definitely in a crisis in this country.
Bridget, you've had these demonstrations countless times. This is possibly the fourth one, or the second one this year. But would you say that the cries or the plight of the poor is falling on deaf ears when it comes to government addressing these challenges you speak of?
The government clearly is falling on deaf ears for the mere fact that we are still standing here today. for the mere fact today that we are still coming to them and saying, listen to your people that have voted for you. 2024 is around the corner, and it's going to be flames. And if the ANC, which is the leading government nationally, and the DA in the Western Cape leading here, do not listen to the cry of the people, 2024, we will make decisive decisions. We will take them out of power.
On that note, Bridget, there's a number of organizations here, banding together in one voice, which is to hope that the Minister of Finance hears their plight, rather. We heard earlier on some organizations coming all the way from the Free State and KZN, graduates saying that they're looking for employment.
Well, in the sauna, it was very interesting from the President's address, where he spoke about the issue of not wanting businesses to look for experience when these graduates look for employment. But we're sitting today, graduates are still unemployed. The unemployment rate is still high. Where are these jobs that have been promised? The city of Cape Town currently is busy making a noise in the public domain to say that they are employing, they are leading in this country in employing, but they are busy talking about EPWP. That is not employment, and that is not what we are looking for in terms of employment in this country. We are looking for employment that is sustainable, so that our families can also have pension funds, so that our families can also have bonuses just like them and be permanent. So they cannot come and tell us that EPWP is a creation of jobs. It can't be. Precarious work in this country, it is not permanent employment, and we do not recognize that as such.
Thank you so much. Bridget is there. A number of issues that she's highlighted, and I think what I take away from what she's saying is that obviously government, according to her, has not listened to the plight of the poor and working class, describing what she puts as something beyond a crisis that people are currently living under, and that they will not be accepting any budget cuts. However, she did say that should government not hear their plight, or rather their cries, there are indeed, a threatening that come 2024, they will be making that all-important decision at the polls during those elections, basically saying that should government not hear their cries as the poor and working class that are living in dire situations, they will indeed ensure that they go out in their numbers, vote for a government that they believe will be able to implement these policies to obviously eradicate poverty in poor and disadvantaged communities.
Nasiphi Same, thank you very much.